So this is me, I'm Melissa McPeters. I support the students in architecture, design, construction management, construction, custodial, automotive, and aeronautics. And I help with resumes, cover letters, interview practice, application assistant. I host activities such as this. My colleague Bianca is on the line, and we invited a lot of social justice students.
I will call you at the number that you have on resume, social number at 9:30, and like I said, just a 20-minute chat, and I'll be taking 2 minutes. Nothing too short.
Mute, please.
Sounds good. I'll reach out to you then.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Bianca does a lot of what I do. She invited the social justice students because there's going to be an outreach piece in this. And my colleague Jonathan Berg, he also does the same work that Bianca and I do. And he works with the students who haven't been invited from real estate and accounting. And then we have Margarita on the line who's helping out just to make sure we are managing everything okay. And she helps the healthcare students. I wanted to share, we have College Central Network. This is the link. This is the City College's official job board. It's free for employers, it's free for students, and even after you graduate, you can use it. And we also have what we call cooperative work experience. So that's your, you earn your college credit while working an internship, either paid or unpaid, volunteer positions, or campus and on-campus, off-campus and on-campus jobs. You can get 1 to 6 units, and you can repeat it until you max out at 6 units. So these are the different codes that work, WKEX 333 and 777. So you need to work a minimum of 75 paid hours or 6 unpaid hours to receive each unit of credit. And then there's a one-time orientation. I'm going to share this PowerPoint with everybody who attended, so don't worry about trying to take a picture or clicking on it. Clicking on it will not work at this time, but you just have to do an orientation once to participate in work experience. And then I wanted to invite people who, I have a portfolio critique workshop coming up. Again, I'm going to share this with everyone, and you'll put your portfolio and assets in a drive, and then we'll have a professional review that for you. And now we're to our guest presenters. This is a lunch and learn. What is it about? So I'm going to go on mute, and I'll be here to support, but I want our focus to be on our guests.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Sam Moss. I'm the Executive Director of Mission Housing Development Corporation. And we are one of a few development team that make up the development team at the Balboa Reservoir, along with Bridge Housing and Avalon Bay, as well as Habitat for Humanity. They are not on this particular call, but they are participating as well. I think I'll let the other team members introduce themselves real quick, just so you know who's on from Mission Housing. Marcia, can you say hi? You're on mute. Make sure you unmute yourselves, everybody.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us to be in your space today. My name is Marcia Contreras, and I'm the Deputy Executive Director for Mission Housing. Work very closely with Sam, and I'll share a little bit more in a little bit about what my role is within the organization.
Great. And then Chirag?
Hey, I'm Chirag. I'm the Senior Community Engagement Coordinator with Mission Housing, and I'm also a former CCSF student myself.
Nice. Nora, are you on, I believe? Somewhere?
Hi, my name is Nora Collins. I'm a Development Director at Avalon Bay.
Great. And I believe Kirsten, are you on from Bridge?
Hey everyone, Kirsten and Arlo from Bridge Housing. We are excited to be working with you guys through this internship.
Great, thank you. And then Gail, our project manager, I'm not sure, I don't see Gail. Sorry everyone, I'm trying to, Gail, are you on? Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm on. I'm a project developer in the housing department for Mission Housing.
Great, thank you, everyone. And then last but of course not least, Scott Falcone, who has the fun job of keeping all of us together and looking good from time to time. Hi, Scott. Okay, we can,
Thanks,
so,
Ben.
you know, I don't want to take up too much time. We have other team members that I want to speak, but just in general, the purpose of this Lunch and Learn is to talk about an idea that Mission Housing and our team members at the Balboa Reservoir have been talking about and working with Melissa and her team for a long time. And this is kind of the beginning of hopefully many engagements with students at City College. But essentially, an affordable housing development, a project, something like the Balboa Reservoir especially, but anyone, you know, we believe that there is a really strong opportunity for students of City College to participate in the actual project itself through paid internships. And that's what we are here to talk about today. One thing people don't realize about, especially affordable housing development, it's not just about construction. You know, lots of times we kind of push people towards just the construction trades in terms of internships and whatnot, and that's great, but architecture, engineering, you know, asset management, project management, community organizing, tenant engagement, facilities management, all these things go into designing, building, and then honestly, the hard part really kind of starts after it's built and people move in. And it's Mission Housing's hope that today will begin a partnership with City College and its students and its teachers to create an internship program wherein each and every every company that participates in the Balboa Reservoir agrees to participate in our internship program. You know, between 1 and 5, we don't have the specific number yet, but with internships at each organization.
Hey, Sam, just in my role of keeping us all together, Melissa, do you have the controls of the slides? Because I think
Yes.
if you could move to the next one, just as a backdrop for what Sam is talking about. It'll
Yes, please. Just let me know when to advance the slides. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, not at all. But I think we're ready for that. That's great. Thank you.
Great. So this is Mission Housing. You know, Mission Housing, we're a nonprofit, community-based organization. Been around for 48 years. We have most of our developments are in the Mission, but we do build all over San Francisco. And you know, what we do is build, create, and then run after it's leased up 100% low-income affordable housing in San Francisco. And then there's a purpose statement for, you know, the internship program to invest in leadership skills in the community we serve and to increase development capacity in affordable housing developers. And so, you know, this, I wanted to read that sentence. This is a really good point. The affordable housing industry, Mission Housing believes, can and should do all that it can to promote, you know, high quality jobs, especially with low income communities of color. And we want the Balboa Reservoir to be, you know, kind of a template for best practices for, in the future, hopefully each and every affordable housing development. We can go to the next slide. So we have introduced everybody. I guess I jumped the gun a little bit on that. But now I'd really like Marcia Contreras to talk about, you know, Mission Housing's most important department is our community, resident and community services and engagement things. So if Marcia could talk about a little bit about what she does, and then perhaps Chira can discuss community engagement, and just what we'd like you to do is kind of get a sense of various jobs or the various focuses in housing development, with the, you know, with the hope that the eventual internships kind of come about organically after you've learned about what we do, and we can go back. So Marcia, if you could talk a little bit.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for allowing us this space to share a little bit more about what we do at Mission Housing. One of our main roles, like Sam stated, is that, you know, what I do at the organization is really to support and push forward, you know, Mission Housing's mission, which is basically to preserve and build affordable housing. But one of my other roles in the organization, which I'm very thrilled about and excited about every day, and this is why I come in to Mission Housing with a smile on my face, is actually the role of supporting.
Melissa, we go to the next slide. Sorry, Marcia. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
It's basically, oops. I think it's the one with the key. That one. That's it. Thank you. Which I get excited for every day is basically when I come into Mission Housing and I'm working directly and overseeing the Resident Services Department, the Community Engagement Department, and underneath Community Engagement, we also have, our workforce and also our tenant empowerment. The goal of our resident services is basically to provide supportive services to our families that are moving in. We truly believe at Mission Housing that providing a roof over their head is just the beginning of their journey. Handing over that key is just the start of a new beginning for them. But when they move in, what we realize and we would find out is that they do have many challenges at times, and they need support. So we need to find a way to meet them, where they're at. So an ongoing assessment is super important for our department, which allows us to be able to create basically a service plan or a system in place that will support our families to thrive in their new environment. That's our main goal. And when I talk about community, we're not necessarily just talking about, the building that we've just built and they were moving in. We're talking about the external, outside their neighborhood. We want to make sure that when we build in a neighborhood, that our families are also integrated in their, in their surrounding neighborhood, externally, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we also help with accomplishing that, and that's where our community engagement piece comes in, our tenant empowerment. We continue to work with our families, and like I said, our goal is to make sure that we are assessing, but that they're also thriving, and that they also feel that they're part of a larger community. And so I'm going to kind of jump in a little bit and introduce Chidok, that's on the call right now, that he can talk a little bit more about the community engagement piece and a little bit maybe perhaps even about tenant empowerment, that kind of we all work together at Mission Housing.
Yeah, definitely. So again, my name is Chirag Bhakta. I am the Senior Community Engagement Coordinator here at Mission Housing. I'm also born and raised in the city, and understand that, when we mean community, we mean both our internal residents and the work we do internally, and also the external community that Mission Housing exists in, right? Like, affordable housing doesn't get built without local organizing, and Mission Housing wouldn't exist without local community organizing 50 years ago, right? There are a lot of local mission nonprofits that owe its existence to movements. And so Mission Housing is dedicated to, to continuing fostering the local environment, so movement work happens, and then having stuff like that on staff too, with myself and some other folks, right? So so with us, if folks at City College want to get involved in local mission-based organizing, strategy, direct service work, all of that gets done through community engagement, right? All through, everything from door knocking to sending mailers to organizing meetings, organizing demonstrations if necessary, and doing advocacy on behalf of the local community is definitely a big aspect of what Mission Housing does, right? All the land that oftentimes that we use to build affordable housing has to be advocated for, right? No matter if it's in the Mission, no matter if it's down where City is or anywhere else in San Francisco. And so, that is a major pillar of, not just the work we do today, but kind of the work that was built into the organization from the start. So, from the outside, we also bring it in to connect our residents to the local organizing and the local movement work that's happening around the area. There's always something happening in San Francisco when it comes to movement work or organizing. So it's not necessarily that difficult to plug in a lot of our residents if they want to get plugged in to things. And on top of that, community building also needs to happen within our, within our sites as well, right? Oftentimes we have populations like seniors and families and different linguistic and ethnic groups. And some of the work we do, actually, where I'm sitting right now at Valencia Gardens, at our this is our biggest site with well over 500 residents. We intentionally build in community building into the community meetings that we do, into leadership trainings that we have, to make sure that that folks feel like this is not just a building they live in, but it's a community that they're a part of. And there's a lot of opportunity for folks to get involved in many different ways, and we're hoping we can get a lot of City College folks over to our end.
Nice. That's great. Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. We can go to the next slide. So the point, this internship, this idea has come about because Mission Housing has been working on the Balboa Reservoir development. And just in case anyone doesn't know what it is, it's 1,100 total apartments. 50% of them will be low income and 50% will be market rate. So there's 550 low income affordable, mostly family apartments, but 150 of them are going to be for educators with priority given to City College and then San Francisco Unified. And the internship program, so the Balboa Reservoir got approval to move forward from the SFPUC last night, which means that its final steps are going to be at the Board of Supervisors, which should hopefully happen through the month of August. And we believe that, from the second that it makes it past the supervisors, God willing, and it becomes a reality and we start building that there is an opportunity to begin the internship program soon thereafter. That said, we don't want to rush into it. We want to make sure that City College, especially the teachers and the students in the various departments where the actual positions are determined, have time to help shape the actual internship program. We believe strongly in the companies that are providing the internship being held accountable and having the deliverables and reporting in. We want these internships to be as robust and beneficial to everyone involved as possible, not just kind of empty things for a resume. We go to the next slide. So Mission Housing also, we're building right now about 1,000 units in our pipeline. I believe our partners, Bridge Housing, are around the same, and Avalon Bay as well. And so, the intern program, we'd like to span the entire project of the Balboa Reservoir, which means that part of the development will be market rate, and we think that there are internships for that. But the majority of it will be kind of coordinated through Mission Housing. And these are just some pictures of the buildings that we're building right now. The Balboa Reservoir is down on the bottom right-hand corner there. But 1950 Mission, 490 South Van Ness, these are buildings that are actually almost done. We're in the process of hiring our community organizer and our resident services permanent jobs there. And so, we bring these up because it is our hope that the internship program will in turn be a pipeline for CCSF students to move into the affordable housing realm permanently. Like I said, whether it's through architecture or asset management or project management or community organizing, resident services, childcare. There's such a myriad of options. And we have these properties in our portfolio right now that are coming online or being built. Some are just starting construction. So Mission Housing is excited because we have a lot of opportunities for these internship positions. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, yes, there we go. So these are the 5 main areas of focus that Mission believes the internship program can be based on. Again, I really want to stress, though, that we see this as a partnership with City College. Melissa, you and your staff have been amazing, and we want to work with the students as well to make sure that the finished product is something that not only benefits everyone right away, but that can last for years and years to come. We do not believe this intern program should end when the Balboa Reservoir project is over. Much the opposite. We'd like it to continue forever because, like we said before, once the buildings are built, there are a lot of that's really when the hard part starts. So running these buildings and engaging with our various communities, it takes a lot of work, and we'd like to have City College be a partner in that. So one thing we haven't talked about is just the actual development part of the phase. Gail, if you're still on, will you just talk a little bit about what you do? Gail is a project manager for Mission Housing.
Sure. I have two projects I'm working on. One is in South Park, and the other is Balboa Upper Yard, which is near the Balboa BART station. The South Park project is SROs. It's 3 buildings, so it's a scattered site. And as a project developer, you basically are kind of running the whole program to get the housing built. So it's kind of like being a quarterback in a way, because there's so many different aspects you have to help facilitate. First, like just getting the financing together. So for affordable housing, there's a lot of different financing sources, such as tax credits and city funding and bonds. So those have their own deadlines and procedures and applications. So that's one aspect, is just putting the financing together. For example, the South Park project, we put together about $35 million in construction financing for that. The next aspect is working with the city on getting permits. So you have permission to build. With affordable housing, they've actually streamlined the process, so it's a little easier now because of the great need. Then we also work with consultants. We work with architects, engineers, environmental, structural. It just varies. And we also work within our own Mission Housing department. So we have asset management, we have resident services, we work with our property manager. So it's basically, you have to be kind of on top of every aspect of housing and really see clearly how it affects everything. Also, just in the initial stages of even starting a project, we work really closely with the community. So there's a lot of community meetings, a lot of building relationships with stakeholders, things like that. So I can answer more questions, but that's a general overview of what we do.
Thank you, Gail. That's really great. Yeah, and so, you know, Melissa, like I said, that's really an overview of what Mission Housing is about. We, again, you know, we're not the only company. We do believe that we can help manage and facilitate the overall internship program, but Bridge Housing, Habitat for Humanity, our 2 architecture firms, Piatalk Architects and Van Meter Williams, are excited about this and the opportunities. Avalon Bay are one of the co-lead developers with Bridge. You know, we know they're excited about it, and I really want the students here, and you know, hopefully down the road when we engage further, you know, I really would like you all just please ask away, but the possibilities are really endless when it comes to who can and should be working on, you know, an affordable housing development. It's not, I really want to stress again, it's not just construction, but there are a lot of construction services positions that we would be, you know, we would love to help fill, but there's the management of the buildings, and like we said, community engagement. Mission Housing also has a robust communications department, and we surely would love to have positions for communications. That's kind of, you know, it's not just tweeting and posting on Facebook, though Julio is very, very good at that. You know, it's really the communication. How do we engage with our community? What is our foot forward? How do we go about empowering the people that not only live at our buildings, but the ones that live around our buildings? Because Mission Housing believes that our main purpose, the main reason we were created, is to empower our community. We just happen to be lucky and be able to do that through real estate development, which has been a blessing, and we'd like to extend that. So, you know, with that, Melissa, you know, we'd love to take any questions.
All right, it's open to questions, so we're listening.
I think, hi, my name is Martin, and I come from the construction management and architecture departments, engaged in with both departments. And for me, there's a series of possibilities that I can fit in. So I would like to hear about what are the different opportunities and levels of internships available for an individual like myself, and what are the stages? Like maybe an internship of this kind will start working right away, and maybe another one, or perhaps a better fit might come on later on in a different, maybe communications or resident services. I also used to be a building manager, so I'm familiarized with part of that process as well. So anyway, just want to understand, like, what's your your need for people?
So
What does that look like?
Yeah, please. So the Balboa Reservoir project itself is still kind of moving through its entitlement. Once it moves past, again, knock on wood, through the Board of Supervisors, which would be towards the end of August, is when we were thinking that that there could be a small pilot program in the fall when Mission Housing could take between 1 to 3 interns. We did not envision that there would be, once it's fully ramped up, so most likely first semester of 2021, if this all works out, of course. We envisioned semester-long internships at each company that is working on the reservoir, most likely between 1 and 5 positions. For instance, Mission Housing would love to have an intern in housing development, an intern in community engagement, an intern in resident services, an intern in communications, but we're not limited to just one in each department. It really will kind of be up to all of the firms that are working on the reservoir. And I keep bringing that up because as we move forward, we'll be engaging more. There won't just be 2 architects, there will also be engineers and these places. And so we were basically envisioning a semester-long internship through City College's programs that are all paid between $18 and $20 an hour. Does that answer your question a little bit?
I see another question. How long are the paid internships?
So we were thinking that it should be a semester long to coincide with City College. But again, couple things there. We really hope that the internships lead to permanent jobs, if not at the companies working on the reservoir, but within the affordable housing industry. But for the sake of the program, we do believe we're assuming that it would be a semester long. Again, though, I really want to stress, Melissa, especially, these are things that we can kind of work out as we go back and forth with City College. We have put a lot of work into the MOU and that we've been going back and forth. And if there's any, and it's a living program, so nothing's set in stone. If we get down the road and it looks like a second semester of internship would be great for someone, then we want to leave it open for that partnership to happen organically.
Thank you, Sam. We have another question. Do you have a contractor lined up? And if so, who is it?
We do not have a contractor lined up yet. We are negotiating a PLA with the building trades, so it will be union built. But we do not have a contractor lined up, and again, that's because we're still working on the entitlement part of the development. So we'll have a process where we hire contractors, I'm sure, and that again won't begin until after we have secured the right to actually build the thing in the first place, which will happen hopefully through the month of August.
And Melissa, if I could just underscore, just kind of bring a couple of things that Sam's been describing forward, because I think this is part of some of the questions also. There will be specific opportunities, we hope, associated with the actual Balboa Reservoir during construction, with construction internship jobs or CM construction management jobs. There's a child care center that will be built as a part of the Mission Housing and Habitat for Humanity building. So there will hopefully be opportunities for internships for students coming through the early childhood ed department. And so those are more internships that are associated with kind of the physical buildings and presence and programs that will be at the reservoir. But what we're excited about, and what Sam described as kind of the beginning of a pilot program that we'll hopefully build starting this fall, is the opportunity for students to intern with Mission Housing and other development partners earlier than the Balboa Reservoir is actually under construction or is in place. So we're building a bridge towards these internship opportunities, because there's a lot of work in all these different areas that the folks from Mission Housing have described already, and with potentially with architecture firms too, while the Balboa Reservoir is actually being built out over the next several years.
That's great.
Thank you. I want to check that. Margarita, did you get your question answered about the specific internship job titles?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
And then I think Bianca's question was, are students usually hired into a full-time role after the internship? Are there opportunities for this? So it sounded like, yes, there's a possibility, correct?
Yes, absolutely. We see this as an investment and partnership in the long-term future of the affordable and housing development industry in general. City College has a long, amazing history, and we can't think of a better entity to partner with to become what we would hope is a pipeline for City College students through the internship into their preferred focus for their career. We're not doing this because we just want it to look good for a little while. Like, Mission Housing truly believes that this can be the beginning of a very long-term partnership where we know that jobs are available, where we have a set of, that where students can know that if they do well in the internship, at the bare minimum, you're going to have a major leg up on your resume, especially in the affordable housing industry. One frustrating part of our industry is that we kind of demand that people have this very specific experience, working on a new affordable housing development, organizing a community around 100% low-income housing. And because it's so hard to build these buildings, they're not being built all the time. There's a limited amount of that experience to get. And that's something that Mission Housing really rails against. We want to open this up, especially for our low-income communities of color. And so we are going into this hoping that every internship turns into a permanent job. Of course, everything is different, and there's specific, each individual has their own things going on. And so I can't guarantee that every internship will, but I really want to stress that the development team's going into this hoping that will be yeah.
And then one of the students wants to know that wondering if they have further questions, if they can get your contact information, Sam?
Of course, yes. So Julio, our communications guru, will post everyone's contact information from Mission Housing. I'm always happy to talk about anything. And then going through Melissa is probably an easy way to make sure that the whole team is involved.
Thank you.
I saw a question about community engagement, I thought. Chirag, if you don't mind, would you talk a little bit about, like kind of some outcomes that we might look for if an intern came and just worked on community organizing?
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's a section that'll, if we're talking about the reservoir itself, right? Some outcomes could be, helping organize a community meeting, right? How, it could be making sure we get turnout. It could be figuring out the agenda, the best strategies, facilitation skills, public speaking skills. There's a lot that could go into the strategy behind a community meeting, or how certain community meetings will build off of each other. How do you include resident and local input, with what the architects want to do, with certain limitations because of subsidies. It could be around that, and there's in terms of where we're at in the mission, there's also just larger movement work that's happening here that has to do with affordable housing advocacy, that has to do with access and equity, anti-gentrification work. There's that, and there's also how do you set up a meeting in the best way, and how do you do these strategies to really organize a community in favor of hundreds of affordable housing units coming into their neighborhood.
That's great. That's really great. And if we could, I'd also, Marcy, if you don't mind, I'd also like to talk about just a little bit more specific programs, that we help bring into our buildings, that if you're in the resident services department, you kind of help usher through, because a lot of that is based on organizing in the surrounding neighborhoods and, organizing who we believe may or currently or future live in the building. But the programs we provide are, robust. And so someone in the resident services department and an intern would be working on helping coordinate those.
Absolutely. We have several. I'll just mention a few today for the sake of time, but I mean, we focus on one of them that actually I know CHEDAC was working on today along with our services team providing support is our weekly food pantries that are providing foods right now, especially with, COVID-19. It's essential to do that. We focus on making sure that we bring in resources, obviously pre-COVID, as you know, because some of them are becoming challenging. How do we bring those services in without having, immediate contact with someone? But we've got workshops that focuses on health and wellness, for example, how folks can, especially our senior population that are very vulnerable when it comes to, their health. So we have different partnership with like San Francisco State University's nursing program. They come in and they do some health screenings for our residents, making sure that their blood pressure is there. It's being monitored, reviewing their medication and creating a log for them to understand when they need to take it. Particularly our seniors, they tend to forget, what they're supposed to be taking on a regular basis. We also have partnership with like childcare providers. We work very closely with the YMCA, with Mission Neighborhood Centers. We have partnership with Boys and Girls Club, that we work with around Valencia Gardens. Even, Clinic Without Walls that provide health and wellness, but also counseling services on site, free of charge. All of these that I mentioned right now are all free of charge to our residents. Various type of workshops that we bring in-house. And we continue to seek, different partnerships to see what we can do. We have a HEAT program, which is basically an energy assistance program for our families and seniors. My God, I can go on and on to describe the various programs that we have, but this is just to mention a few. But we also do work very closely, like with CHEDAC and his team, to make sure that we are doing major outreach. And now that we're doing a lot of virtual. We're thinking outside the box to see how we can bring in additional services into our communities, but also educate our population and our families on how they can stay connected with us. One last thing that I want to talk about is at Valencia Gardens, we had what we used to call a free computer lab. That recently, about a year ago, we just established a partnership with Dev Mission, which provides coding and hardware training for our youth, 16 through 24 years of age. So that's just to mention a few of the services the Mission Housing focuses on. I welcome you to visit our website to see the list of services that we provide, which is missionhousing.com.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thanks, Marcia. So I see another question from Margarita. This is a really great question. We are engaging for the internship program. We have been to date going through Melissa and focused on CCSF students. It is not something that has come up, but as the ED of Mission Housing, I can say that I would love to prioritize CCSF students that live in affordable housing to get priorities for the internships. We don't have specific majors that we have talked, we've gone through the course catalog and we have certainly pointed out what we believe some of the focuses should be, especially in the architecture and development, childcare, and then community organizing focuses at City College. But I really want to stress that we wouldn't limit any possibility. If there's one that we hadn't thought about, then certainly we'd be happy to engage with that as well.
Sam, if you give me a moment, I'd like to share with everybody that's listening. I know that CHEDAC mentioned that he's a student also of CCSF. I myself went to CCSF, and I'm very proud to say that. I took several courses. A lot of them were in real estate, received my certificate from CCSF, but also I did the supervisory management certificate through there that actually has helped me, use that knowledge and experience at Mission Housing. So there are so many different things that CCSF is able to offer. This is just the beginning, I think, of a conversation. But, as I think Mr. Delgado had mentioned, he worked as a building manager as well. There may be even a possibility, I know we haven't even talked internally, but, from a property management perspective also, I know CCSF has a track on that as, through their real estate track on property management as well. So there's so much opportunities that we can probably dig in and consider.
Okay. Are there any more questions? moving forward, Melissa, I'm not sure if there are any, I think we've gotten to the questions, but, you know, moving forward, we would like to keep engaging with you, Melissa. And, you know, I think we can talk offline, but as the program gets sussed out a little bit more, you know, I just can't stress enough about how we don't want to be thrusting some program on City College and like, you know, expecting a high five. Like, this is something we want to build and create organically with the students, with the teachers. And again, we really see it as, you know, being something that lasts for forever, if possible. And then one last thing I don't think was mentioned, Mission Housing has participated in internship programs before. And like I said, we're real big on company accountability, and the companies who sign on, you know, holding true to the agreements they've made and the information they will teach and the products they'll supply. But also, if you are in the asset management internship, you should also expect to participate in organizing and to learn about resident services. You won't be in a silo. You might focus on one thing more than another, but Mission Housing plans to bring all the interns together, you know, at least monthly, if not more than that, so that everyone can kind of talk about what they're doing. Because if there's one thing that the affordable housing is more than anything else, there's all these disciplines that kind of cross section with each other. And in the end, you have this beautiful building with these beautiful ground floor spaces. But because there's so many different departments and because there's so many focuses, it really takes a lot of organizing. And we believe at Mission Housing, we know our partners at Bridge and Avalon do as well, that having empathy, understanding every department and what goes into building these things just makes you better at your job. So that'll be a big part of the learning process through the internship program as well.
Thank you. And then I did want to, you can still ask questions, everyone. I did want to emphasize that if you're interested in learning more, right now we don't have the list of interns yet because we're still waiting for that last piece of approval. But if you want to put your name on a list for me to contact you later, I just need your name, your major, your email, and phone number, and there's my email right there.
That's great.
Because we want to keep this going, and there's so many great opportunities for City College students.
And Melissa, I would just add, you know, I mean, I think all the folks on this call hear the excitement and the opportunities here, both short term and longer term. And so if you have, you know, friends or just colleagues or other students that you know who would be interested, this is not the first time that we'll be hosting a Lunch and Learn. I think we'll probably set something up for next month as well. And these will be ongoing to answer more questions, to develop the programs. And then as we get closer to the fall for what will be a pilot, and then, you know, further on, hopefully next year, more broad opportunities, we want to keep talking to folks and we want to get people interested. And this is a great way to do so. So yeah, please spread the word. And thanks for all coming for today. Really
Thanks
fantastic.
again. Yeah, thanks a lot for hosting this. This has been great. We're looking forward to moving forward with it.
Thanks. And just so you know, team, Bianca, who's also here, she's worked with the social justice and child development students. So I'll still be the main point of contact, but she'll be coming in when we get to that level.
Great. And then like Marcia said, if you go to missionhousing.org, all of our contact information is there. There's a lot of information about the things that Mission does and the projects we're working on. So I think that would be a good way to kind of get your own brains thinking about, you know, the possibilities if you really kind of take a look and see what Mission's been going. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you. Everything will be is recorded, so we can I'll send it out to everybody so you can review it in case you missed anything.
That's great. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed this. We're looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. Likewise.
Okay.
And
have a good day.
So you know, this is our City College social media. So join us. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming, both students and all the panelists. And it was really informative. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.